When we think about occult detectives, names like Constantine, Doctor Strange, and Hellboy are mostly what people think of. However, there's one rather obscure name that people often forget. Harry D'Amour, created by Clive Barker for his short story The Last Illusion, appeared in the 1995 movie Lord of Illusions, and since then, he has jumped into the Hellraiser universe and appeared in many comics as the protagonist. He has had an amazing journey from being a regular detective to getting into the world of the supernatural, and finally replacing Pinhead himself as the Hell Priest. In this video, we will explore the entire life history and origin of Harry D'Amour. And rest assured, you're in for a treat even if you're not a fan of the Hellraiser universe. Let's get started. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Who is Harry D'Amour? Harry D'Amour, a brainchild of Clive Barker, is your not-so-ordinary detective with a knack for the occult. First appearing in 1985 in The Last Illusion from Barker's Books of Blood Volume 6, Harry's been around the block, showing up in other stories and comics by Boom Studios. He even hit the big screen in 1995's Lord of Illusions, played by Scott Bakula. The comics even got him looking like Bakula, and by 2012, Boom Studios' Hellraiser number 18 had him modeled after Thomas Jane. A Hell's Kitchen native, Harry used to be a cop in New York City before he jumped ship to become a private investigator, but for the occult and the supernatural. So how did that happen? Well, after a run-in with some demonic forces, he gets deep into the occult, mentored by Norma Payne, a blind lady who's got a sixth sense for ghosts and otherworldly stuff. Harry's rep as an occult detective skyrockets, and according to Barker, he's constantly battling evil due to some karmic payback for his own shady past. He's got a soft spot for the living as well as the dead, and calls himself a detective for the dead. Despite the ugly side of the job, Harry tries to stick to his morals. He's got a sharp sense for the supernatural, but doesn't dabble much in magic himself, except when he's granted some supernatural mojo by others. His .38 revolver is always at his side, and he's got tattoos that are more than just skin deep. They serve him as an early warning system against evil and a bit of a magic shield. I'm not The Last Illusion. In The Last Illusion from Books of Blood Volume 6, Harry D'Amour is a 30-something divorced PI living it up or down in New York City. Harry's just wrapped up this wild case at the Lomax house in Brooklyn, and it's totally flipped his world upside down. He's now a firm believer in magic and demonic shenanigans. Let me bring you up to speed here. So, Mr. Lomax hired Harry to collect evidence of Mrs. Lomax's adulterous life. Harry soon learns that the dude whose bed Mrs. Lomax was warming was actually a half-demon. Oh, and by now, he's got this new phobia of stairs. Anyway, The Last Illusion essentially revolves around Swan, a big-shot illusionist who dies during an act. His widow, Dorothea, catches wind of Harry's skills from the Lomax job and hires him to babysit Swan's corpse. She's worried that Swan's not-so-fan club might crash the cremation party. Turns out, Swan wasn't just pulling rabbits out of hats. The dude has made a deal with demons for some legit magic powers and wealth. And now that he is dead, the demons have come to collect what is theirs. Swan's lawyer, Butterfield, a rather slick character, persuades Dorothea to cut Harry loose. But after a chat with Swan's right-hand man, Valentine, Harry's like, nah, I'm sticking around. True to his word, he goes toe-to-toe with demons, keeping them from nabbing Swan's soul. In the end, Harry torches the body just in time. However, Butterfield was actually a demon, and he escapes, but not before telling Harry that hell has got a bone to pick with him. Harry, of course, isn't scared. This whole ordeal gives Harry a major confidence boost, and he decides to gear up for more supernatural showdowns. In the movie titled The Lord of Illusions, Butterfield is not a demon, but a human bad guy, and it's a whole other arc. We'll explore the movie in just a bit, but before that, let's get into the Hellraiser comics and Harry's story there, where he does many things, but more importantly, he quite literally replaces Pinhead as the leader of the Cenobites. Harry D'Amour in the universe of Hellraiser. The Boom Studios Hellraiser comics from 2011 to 2012 follow the first 3 Hellraiser films, rather than Clive Barker's prose. In this universe, Harry's rubbing elbows with Pinhead and the Cenobites. You know, those freaky folks from a hell dimension called the Labyrinth that's the go-to place for pleasure-seeking sinners? So in this realm, the Cenobites take their orders from Leviathan, who's basically a version of the devil and rules over the Labyrinth. As many of you may know, Pinhead was the leader of the Cenobites, the high priest, if you will. He used to be a captain serving the colonial Brits named Elliot Spencer, but during a visit to British India during the First World War, he turned into the Cenobites' head honcho, their hell priest. In the comics, Pinhead quits his Cenobite status, reverts back to being Elliot Spencer, and leaves his old nemesis, Kirsty Cotton, to fill his shoes as the new Cenobite boss lady. Harry's right in the thick of this chaos, and deals with these underworld shenanigans and all the twisted turns they bring. At the end of the 14th issue of the comic, Harry learns that Pinhead, in his human form, has been raising an army of damned souls to take over Earth. Furthermore, he aims to replace Leviathan himself. Naturally, Harry steps up to do something about Elliot Spencer, the former Pinhead. In the following issue, he can be seen in Peru trying to connect with US officials when he gets a call from the NSA's war room. It seems that Harry's reputation precedes him, and the US government considers him to be an expert on matters concerning the supernatural, which is why they want his opinion on the subject. The situation is escalating and needs a quick fix. You see, the Indian state of West Bengal was engulfed in some sort of a blue hue, something that was dubbed a proton cloud. Its area was larger than the mushroom cloud of a 100 megaton nuclear bomb. Clearly, it was the largest nuclear event in human history. On a closer look, the cloud has actually taken the form of blue chains spread across the sky of West Bengal. Crazy stuff. Of course, this is all Spencer's doing. You see, he had become unimaginably powerful after joining hands with another demon. So the question is, if this is all happening in India, what is Harry D'Amour doing in Peru? Well, he has it on good authority that another one of those energy events is going to take place on the coast of Peru, which is 1,500 kilometers away from India and also the exact opposite point on the planet from India. As is expected, Harry's theory comes true, and a similar cloud appears in the waters near Peru. Before late, the situation begins to escalate, or should I say exacerbate. A huge whirlpool appears in the ocean, which is so strong that it is pulling in USS Sentry, a warship. The Sentry's commander, named Hayes, receives orders from NORAD to rescue a small boat from the sea, whose cargo is deemed too precious. Yes, the small boat has Harry D'Amour in it, and his presence on the warship is absolutely important. Once aboard, Harry summons the female Cenobite, who has managed to escape the labyrinth in the wake of whatever is happening. Nevertheless, she gives Harry a name, Priscilla Spencer. Who is this girl? Well, she is only the daughter of Pinhead, but Priscilla's mother is also Pinhead's daughter. So, you know what he has done there. One of the most dastardly acts known to mankind. She is the key to Spencer's defeat, and has to be found at all costs. Harry asks Andrew Norton to find Priscilla, and it isn't before long that Norton gets hold of her in a mental asylum in Britain, where she is being treated for cerebral palsy. Soon, she is transported to Ground Zero in the Peruvian waters, and with her help, Spencer, who has gained godlike powers by now, is defeated. Leviathan imprisons Spencer and Kirsty Cotton, which means the labyrinth is without a priest. The female Cenobite tells Harry that there must always be a Pinhead or a priest to decide Hell's matters, or else Hell will start to decide for itself. Harry in Hell. In a dimly lit room, a theologian with terminal liver cancer acquires a notorious puzzle box from a street dweller. We all know by now what this is, but for our newer viewers, of course, it is the Lament configuration, solving which summons the Cenobites. Fascinated by the occult, he tries to solve the puzzle box and triggers its intricate gold patterns to glow. The puzzle box opens, emitting a beam of light and creating a portal in the wall, which ultimately leads to a corridor with an eerie chill. The theologian, intrigued by dark mysteries, walks into the corridor, seeking answers, or perhaps the Cenobites. As he traverses the hellish landscape, witnessing grotesque scenes and remnants of destruction, he encounters the female Cenobite. Surprised by his voluntary entrance into hell, she engages in conversation. The theologian explains his lifelong fascination with hell and his desire to experience it firsthand due to his terminal condition. Together, they explore the pit, a dismal area filled with tormented souls. The theologian learns that only select sinners undergo elaborate tortures in the labyrinth, while others languish in the pit. The female Cenobite hints that his fate in hell might be unique. Their journey takes an abrupt turn when they are pursued by rogue souls, referencing Captain Spencer or Elliot Spencer, the former Pinhead. The situation escalates until chains appear, neutralizing the threat. The female Cenobite dismisses any notion of Spencer as a savior. They then discover orbs containing the trapped essences of Kirsty Cotton and Elliot Spencer. We now learn that the last high priests of hell are now confined, and there's a power shift in hell. As they observe Leviathan and a new army of Cenobites, the theologian realizes that he's witnessing a transformation in hell's hierarchy. The female Cenobite reveals a shift in hell's policy. Individuals now enter hell by choice, emphasizing free will. This change is the result of a new era under a different leadership. So, who is leading this change wagon? Harry D'Amour now commands hell as its new leader. His ascent from a mortal detective to the ruler of hell is quite a dramatic evolution in his journey, but now we know why he became the new Hell Priest, to save Earth from a certain disaster. Harry rides a demonic skinless warhorse, which is nothing but a symbol of his powerful status in hell. You see, even the OG Pinhead never rode a horse in hell. D'Amour recognizes the theologian, Marchetti or the Cankerist, who is reputed for his past as a relentless Vatican assassin. Interestingly, and quite surprisingly, Marchetti's present mission in hell appears to be an assassination attempt on Harry. However, Harry's position as the master of Hell's Order means he's not an easy target. The female Cenobite tries to subdue Marchetti using her signature hooks and chains, but Marchetti's protective force field, rooted in a crucifix-like rosary, renders him impervious. Unfazed, Harry resorts to his old detective instincts and uses a gun to disarm Marchetti. Harry, after all, always keeps his 38 around. You see, what doesn't get killed by the supernatural can always be killed with a 38. With Marchetti injured and defenseless, Harry uses a specialized chamber designed to transform individuals into Cenobites. As Marchetti undergoes this transformation, he becomes a new addition to the Cenobite ranks. Throughout this process, Marchetti urges Harry to consider the broader implications of his actions. The female Cenobite reflects on Harry D'Amour's unexpected rise to power in hell. From a detective to a demon hunter, and finally to the supreme authority in hell, his career trajectory is pretty unconventional. She also wonders about the creation of a new Cenobite army under Harry's leadership. This in fact raises questions about the purpose and future of these new Cenobites, especially in the context of past events like Captain Spencer's rebellion. Naturally, Harry's role in these evolving power dynamics in hell is what leads the story. Back in the room where Marchetti first opened the puzzle box, the same street dweller who sold it to him arrives to retrieve the box. As he reaches for it, Tiffany appears on the scene and warns him to leave it alone. Unbeknownst to her, this man is a Hell's servant with a hidden identity. Tiffany is taken aback when he transforms into the Lament Configuration Guardian, a monstrous entity with protruding eyes. Tiffany and her team have been collecting and securing the Le Marchand configurations in a safe in an attempt to close all of Hell's gates. The team consists of diverse members: Norton, a former spy, Rajiv, an Oxford-educated Indian with personal struggles, and Theo, an ex-thief turned Hellgate hunter. All led by Harry D'Amour, they operate from his office in his absence. Amid this chaos, Tiffany receives a call from Norma, who possesses psychic abilities. Norma reports a puzzle box activation in the Bronx, which prompts Tiffany into action in the first place, and that's how Tiffany ends up here, facing the Lament Configuration Guardian. In desperation, Tiffany manages to get hold of the puzzle box and tries to outmaneuver the Guardian. She works the puzzle to open a portal. She steps through and closes it in time, which results in the Guardian's death as the portal snaps shut. The victory is significant but marred by loss. Harry D'Amour arrives and Tiffany is taken aback by his transformation into a Cenobite. Harry acknowledges her impressive tactics and elaborates on the Guardian's role. Unlike regular Cenobites, Guardians are solitary creatures and are tasked with the singular job of safeguarding the puzzle boxes. Tiffany realizes her mission of destroying the boxes are inadvertently aiding Spencer's agenda. Harry proposes that Tiffany become his earthly deputy and assures her that it doesn't involve becoming a Cenobite. He offers her a puzzle that can summon him anytime, which in turn would enable communication and collaboration in tracking Hell's influence on Earth. Harry reveals his long-standing support for Tiffany and her team, having previously aided their escape during Spencer's reign. Tiffany, faced with this unexpected offer, grapples with the implications. Accepting feels like a pact with the devil, and she doesn't want to calculate the risk of not doing something absolutely necessary. With mixed feelings, she takes the puzzle, wondering about Kirsty's whereabouts and her own decision. As Hell's new boss, Harry D'Amour has been riding out a wild first year, perched atop his creepy warhorse. The dude finds out that running Hell isn't exactly a walk in the park. After his scrap with Marchetti, Harry's head is spinning with questions. Like, why did Leviathan pick him of all people post the High Priest smackdown? He's starting to think it might be a setup, keeping him so swamped with Hell business that he doesn't have time to snoop around. Then there's the female Cenobite, throwing curveballs about why they're whipping up a new Cenobite army. Harry, who's seen his fair share of freaky stuff, can't shake the feeling that he's just a piece in some cosmic chess game. And this whole Crusader army thing? Is it just for show, or is Hell cooking up something big? In the midst of all this, Harry catches the vibe of Tiffany cracking a puzzle box back in his old office, digging through his files and contacts. He decides to play detective and sends her back to Earth with a special box to keep him in the loop on any Hell-related shenanigans. Tiffany's also keeping tabs on Kirsty Cotton, Harry's predecessor, who's stuck in the weird memory sphere with Elliot Spencer. Harry's still determining what their deal is: punishment, lockdown, or something else. Harry also tries to crack the code on Cenobite's forgotten human lives. He prods Marchetti, now a Cenobite, for some intel on his past life, but the guy's acting all weird, like his human memories are wiped clean. But Harry's different. He remembers everything from his human days. The female Cenobite steps in and warns him not to push it. If Marchetti starts remembering his old life and mission, things could get messy for Harry. Harry's deep in thought about why he still remembers his past life while other Cenobites don't. The female Cenobite clues him in. You see, Kirsty Cotton used to remind them of their human days, a thing Spencer couldn't shake off. Harry figures Leviathan's game plan needed him and Kirsty with their memories intact, while for others, it was about total transformation, mind and body. But can he trust his lieutenant? She's a Hell veteran and was tight with Spencer back in the day. Harry decides it's time to play detective, suspecting she might be trying to stir up Marchetti's human side, or maybe she's got some other agenda. Harry heads to the pit solo, scoping out the miserable souls. He stumbles on this castle, but the guard's like, "Back off, High Priest." Not one to be told no, Harry uses Marchetti's holy bling to bust in. Inside, he's faced with this 5-headed Cenobite monster, a real freak show even for him. The beast's about to take Harry down when Marchetti's knife comes flying in, courtesy of the female Cenobite. But even with the save, they're still in a tight spot. Harry tries a new tactic and hits the creature with some deep talk about its human past. The memories hit the beast hard, and it can't handle it. It kind of self-destructs, giving Harry and his lieutenant a chance to snoop. They find a blue beam, a direct line to Earth. Harry's mind races. The new Cenobite army, the Earth portal, it's all pointing to a full-on Earth invasion, and he's supposed to lead it. He's starting to see the whole picture now. He's got to figure out more, especially where his lieutenant's loyalties really lie. Looking at his army, he's connecting the dots between Spencer's rebellion and the rift between Hell and Earth. Cut to Tiffany on a stakeout with Theo, bored stiff, keeping eyes on this Church of Lost Salvation. Inside, things go from zero to demonic real quick. Tiffany later recounts everything that happened to Harry. She's seen her fair share of creepy, but this was something else. Harry's got his thinking cap on. These aren't your garden variety Cenobites or anything from Leviathan's minions. It dawns on him there are multiple hells, and things are starting to click. Harry's got a plan, but tells his Earthside agents, Tiffany and crew, to lay off these demons. They're scratching their heads, wondering if Harry's still the good guy they remember, or if he's flipped since taking the Hell Throne. In Hell, the female Cenobite and her squad step through another portal, facing off with the church demons. But the demons have the seal of the Salutant, which makes them untouchable. The Cenobites are getting shredded. Realizing they're outmatched, the female Cenobite books it and uses her chains to cover her escape. The demons, miffed but confident, let her go, knowing they've got the upper hand now. Back in Hell's interiors, Harry D'Amour's doing his Hell High Priest thing, giving a sermon, which he's not exactly thrilled about. Just then, the female Cenobite crashes in with news of demons stirring up trouble from another hell. Harry's like, great, saved by the bell, and readies for a fight. Meanwhile, Tiffany and her gang, Rajiv, Theo, and Norton, are back at Harry's old digs, where they are for their own mission. Rajiv's looking a bit rough, but he's game to join in. Oh, I forgot to tell you that Rajiv was killed previously, but brought back by Harry. Well, sort of. Tiffany gets busy with the puzzle box and sets things in motion. Back in Hell, Harry busts out his trusty 38 against these invading demons, but it's barely making a dent. Butterfield, whom we met earlier in the last illusion, shows that he and his mates are immune to Hell's usual party tricks. However, Harry's unfazed and keeps blasting away. Next thing you know, Harry's yanked out of Hell and lands smack in the middle of Tiffany's crew. Guns are drawn and they're grilling him for answers. Harry's trying to tell them the truth, but they're not biting. He's stuck in a summoning circle and they're not letting him out without the whole truth. Things soon get heated. Harry whips out his gun, trying to shoot his way out, when Rajiv steps up and calls Harry out on the monster he's become. Harry's defensive, saying he did what he had to do to save Rajiv from a hellish fate. The air's thick with tension, guns ready, and everyone's on edge. Just as things are about to go nuclear, a portal to Hell cracks open. In rolls a Rapparee, a beast of a demon, and Harry's like, yo, let me out or we're all toast. He's pushing against the circle, trying to break free, but Theo's not having it. Theo is about to get slain, but Harry tosses his talisman to Theo to save him. But now Harry's in the hot seat, talismanless and vulnerable. Theo finally catches on, busts the circle, and frees Harry. It's a close shave, with Harry nearly getting done in by the Rapparee. Norton steps in with a petrol bomb and torches the demon. Cut to Hell, where demons are plotting to kill Leviathan using a giant glyph of the Salutant. Back in the office, Tiffany's ready to team up with Harry, but she's got terms. In Hell, demons pile up Cenobite bodies to complete their glyph. Harry, the female, and the Cenobite squad hustle to stop Tiffany from unintentionally aiding the demons. They find her in the orb chamber, face to face with Kirsty. But what's a good story without a plot twist? The whole ordeal is Leviathan's mind game. Harry lays it out for them and explains why he fibbed about Kirsty's location. He was worried about the ripple effects if Tiffany actually rescued her. But then, Hell starts to unravel. The orb chamber falls apart and leads to a massive shift in Hell's balance. So yeah, as Hell is going bonkers, Harry D'Amour finds himself in the thick of it. Elliot Spencer is now a big bad demon, thanks to Abaddon's influence. On Earth, Edgar Boyle, Kirsty's boyfriend, is on a wild goose chase for Kirsty and fiddles with a fake lament configuration. Poor guy lands in the wrong Hell and gets booted back to Earth. He stumbles upon a bunch of puzzle boxes and assumes that one of them might lead him to Kirsty's Hell. Meanwhile, Tiffany and the crew try to figure out their next move. They're blindsided when a portal opens and out comes Tiffany and Kirsty, fresh from Hell and loaded with news about the chaos down there. Meanwhile, Harry plans an all-out invasion of Abaddon's turf. He's got intel on a secret level under the labyrinth, which is supposed to be packed with nasty legionnaires. Kirsty gears up with some badass wings and leaves Tiffany to manage the labyrinth with the female Cenobite. Edgar finally gets to the labyrinth, but the female Cenobite is waiting to chain him up. No, no happy reunions there. On the other hand, in Hell's secret dungeon, the Oubliette, Harry's leading his Cenobite army against Abaddon's legionnaires. Back on Earth, Norton and Tiffany are battling the legionnaires. It's a brutal fight, and they're taking heavy losses. Norton gets crushed, and Rajiv meets a grisly end. Tiffany is left standing amidst the destruction and feels the weight of it all. In the end, the legionnaires are defeated, but the victory comes at a great cost, that of Edgar's death. Later, Leviathan offers Spencer and Kirsty bargains in order to prevent the conflict from continuing. Spencer agrees to become the Hell Priest again, but now with greater power and authority. Leviathan then resurrects Edgar and restores Kirsty, Harry, and Tiffany to their original human forms. The Hell Priest then demonstrates his restored power by killing Edgar before returning to Hell. Kirsty, Tiffany, and Harry D'Amour are left on Earth, alive and restored, but they know that the Hell Priest and the Cenobites are still a threat. Harry's latest adventure from the Scarlet Gospels novel. The Hell Priest is on a mission to eliminate Earth's magicians and hoard their magical knowledge. After decimating a group of magicians, the priest enslaves the sole survivor, Felixson. Harry's journey begins in New Orleans, where he's lured into a trap set by the Hell Priest. The priest views Harry as a potential threat to his quest. Fortunately, Harry escapes thanks to Dale, a southerner with precognitive abilities. Dale directs Harry back to New York to protect Norma Payne, a medium who also appeared briefly in the previous story. In New York, Harry tries to secure Norma's safety with the help of his friend Kaz and others. However, their efforts are thwarted when the Hell Priest opens a portal to Hell in Manhattan and kidnaps Norma. The priest sees Harry as the ideal person to document these events. Harry, along with the Harrowers, learns that Lucifer has vanished from Hell, leading to the rise of a demon civilization. The Hell Priest, empowered by his new magical knowledge, is killing Hell's rulers to ensure his unchallenged passage to the Wastelands, a forbidden region in Hell. The Harrowers follow the priest, venturing into the Wastelands and across a cursed lake to an island where a cathedral, rumored to be Lucifer's throne room, is located. Upon reaching the cathedral, they discover it's actually Lucifer's tomb. The Hell Priest, angered by this revelation, dons Lucifer's armor and declares himself the new Lord of Hell. His power amplified, he defeats the attacking demon armies. However, removing the armor inadvertently resurrects Lucifer, who battles the priest in a fierce fight. Lucifer wins, disemboweling the priest and vowing to destroy Hell. The Harrowers, Norma, and surviving demons escape the collapsing Hell. On the lake's shores, the weakened Hell Priest blinds Harry and kills Norma before fleeing. The Harrowers find a wormhole and escape to Arizona. In the aftermath, Hell and its inhabitants are obliterated by Lucifer, who then sets off to make a name for himself in New York. Meanwhile, angels observe the remnants of Hell. An unknown force then erases Hell from existence, taking the Hell Priest with it, which essentially marks the end of Pinhead. Back in New York, Harry, now blind and struggling with alcoholism, is visited by Norma's ghost. She informs him that she's moved on to paradise and passes her medium abilities to him. Harry, taking over her office, is soon overwhelmed by a multitude of ghosts seeking his help. Despite his challenges, he finds a sense of purpose in comforting a child ghost and her guardian and promises to assist them. Lord of Illusions, 1995. So this is Harry's only live-action appearance. Back in '82 in the Mojave Desert, there was this guy, William Nix, also known as the Puritan, who was running a cult in an old house. Nix had real magical powers and plans to kill a girl for some world-saving, wisdom-giving ritual. A bunch of ex-cultists, including Philip Swan and Casper Quaid, crashed the party to stop him. In the chaos, Nix's sidekick Butterfield slipped away. The girl Nix was going to sacrifice shot him through the heart. Swan sealed the deal by clamping an iron mask on Nix, which supposedly bound his power. Nyx was out for the count, at least for now. We move 13 years into time in New York City. Our main man, Harry D'Amour, is reeling from a rough exorcism case. He goes on to take what he thinks is an insurance fraud case in LA. But surprise, surprise, he stumbles upon Quaid, now a fortune teller, getting roughed up by Butterfield and this powerhouse, Ray Miller. They escape, and Quaid, while dying, tells Harry he's destined to walk the line between heaven and hell. He also reveals that the Puritan is back. Meanwhile, Swan, who's now a big-time illusionist, lives in Beverly Hills with his wife, Dorothea. Swan thinks Quaid's murder is the work of Nyx's loyalists. Before Harry can jet from LA, Dorothea, who has read about him in the papers, hires him. She's scared for her husband. Harry agrees to check if Swan's on the hit list. He even gets an invite to Swan's magic show, which goes sideways. Swan ends up dead, impaled by swords. Backstage, Harry is ambushed by Butterfield and Miller. In self-defense, he accidentally kills Miller, but Butterfield gets away. Harry then hits up the magic castle and sneaks into the repository, a treasure trove of magical secrets. There, he uncovers that Swan's illusions are quite real, and that he has learned real magic from Nyx. So Dorothea tells Harry that she is the girl Nyx had kidnapped way back. She married Swan because she felt like she owed him one. Smelling something fishy, Harry checks Swan's coffin, and surprise, it's a dummy. So apparently, Swan has faked his death to escape Nyx's wrath. Harry decides to let the death charade continue. At Swan's funeral, he tails a shady guy who turns out to be Swan himself. Swan, peeved and green-eyed, jumps Harry, then confesses he played illusionist to avoid being hunted for his real-deal magic. Harry talks him into teaming up against Nyx and his die-hard cultists. Meanwhile, Butterfield is busy torturing Valentine for Nyx's body's whereabouts and kidnaps Dorothea. After locating Nyx's corpse, Butterfield kills Valentine and carts the body back to the cult's desert hideout. The cultists, who've been loyally waiting, gather to see Nyx rise from the dead, looking all decayed and monstrous. To be honest, he is more scary than scary. Nyx promises to share his spooky wisdom, but Swan and Harry crash the party. The undead Nyx chucks Dorothea into the chasm, but Harry saves her. Nyx wants Swan back on his team and hugs it out. Swan, torn between Nyx and Dorothea, chooses her, triggering Nyx's magical wrath, and this seemingly kills Swan. Dorothea grabs Harry's gun and shoots Nyx in his third eye. Nyx, all bitter, goes on about he and Swan are meant to be buds post-apocalypse. Swan, using his last ounce of magic and life, assists Harry in delivering the final smackdown to Nyx, who tumbles into the chasm, and Swan succumbs to his injuries. In the end, Harry and Dorothea head off into the desert together, making it out alive. Marvelous verdict. The Hellraiser franchise, a staple of 80s horror, was known for its modest budgets, much like its contemporaries. Hellbound, Hellraiser 2, despite its more ambitious settings and effects, followed this trend of cost-effective production. However, in the Scarlet Gospels, author Clive Barker was freed from the constraints of movie budgets and schedules. This allowed him to expand the Hellraiser universe, offering readers a detailed and graphic tour of hell that's rich in gruesome imagery and expansive hellish landscapes. While Hellraiser 3, Hell on Earth, tried to pivot Pinhead into a Freddy Krueger-like slasher, this approach didn't fully resonate, though Pinhead remained a horror icon. The recent Hulu reboot, particularly Clayton's portrayal of Pinhead, has been well received. A potential Hellraiser 2, drawing from the Scarlet Gospels, could benefit from focusing more on Pinhead. The Scarlet Gospels story revolves significantly around Harry D'Amour, making him a key protagonist. A movie adaptation would allow audiences to see a different side of the Hellraiser saga, one not previously explored on the big screen. But hey, that's just me. What do you think? And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.
King D'Amour.